Hi everyone, this is Alex, and today I'm going to be telling you all about a little bit about reading paradigms and judge adaptation in public forum debate. It's going to kind of be an intro video. So in this video, we're going to talk about kind of judge adaptation from the ground up and learn some of the basics about types of judges and specifically how to read their paradigms so you can better adapt to them. But this video is for people of all skill levels because reading judges and adapting to them is one of the most difficult and important things when it comes to winning high level rounds, as especially when rounds get closer and closer, how those rounds will be decided is in a lot of times by which team is better able to adapt to the specifics of some of the judges' preferences. And adapting to types of judges is something that's very complicated and something that you'll learn a lot more about, both from me and from Outreach Debate, throughout your entire debate career. So this isn't going to teach you everything you need to know about that, but this should give you a good base of knowledge to start, and specifically give you a good base of knowledge into how to read paradigms so that you can better know in what way you should be adapting. So what is judge adaptation like in the first place? I think adaptation is one of the more unique parts of public forum. It's called public forum, so kind of the intention of the creation of this event in many ways is for the average person to be able to judge. And at almost every single tournament, those are the types of judges that you'll get. You'll get a lot of parents and people like that who might know very very little about debate. But of course, over the decades in which public forum has become a thing, you also now have coaches and former competitors judging who have far, far different stylistic preferences and ways in which they'll evaluate rounds um, than than parents, for example. And you're going to have to debate differently in front of those people to win those people's ballots. And in some instances, if you make it to out rounds of tournaments where there'll be panels, there'll be these competitors and these parents all in the same panels, and you'll need to learn how to make all of them happy if you want to win. So, traditionally, when people talk about types of judges, the words lay, flay, flow, tech are kind of thrown around. They're said often, and perhaps you know what they mean, perhaps you don't. Kind of very, very basically, uh, these two poles of these types of judges, you have traditionally the lay judge, which is typically a parent judge, and this is in someone in front of you would have to speak much more slowly. You would have to have simpler arguments, and it's more performance oriented. They're watching a lot more of your body language, how you conduct yourself, the kind of presentational aspects of debate. And you obviously can't use any jargon, debate jargon, because they're new to the activity and they wouldn't know what any of those mean. And then on the opposite of this, diametrically, you have flow judges, which are typically former competitors and coaches. And those are people in front of which you can debate much faster. You'll hear the term tabula rasa thrown around a lot, which means blank slate in Latin, which basically means that they'll evaluate any kind of argument as long as you're winning it, right? Whereas a lay judge might, if they think your argument is silly, even if it has been rather unresponded to, they might vote on it, but a flow judge wouldn't do the same. In front of them, you could have more complex arguments, and you can use flow jargon. Obviously, this is very basic. Not only the description of these types of judges. Again, if you want to learn more deeply about how to win either of these types of judges, that's something that you'll continue to learn throughout your debate career, or maybe from me. I will probably make some videos about how to do lay debate pretty soon. But also, it's very basic in terms of characterizing the types of judges that you'll have, because in reality, most of your judges aren't just one of these two things. Instead, it's more of a spectrum in terms of the type of judges that you'll have, between someone who has never seen debate ever and someone who has judged hundreds of rounds even this year. There are hundreds of different judges in between the two that have a wide mix of combinations of styles. You'll need to kind of get a feel of, and to be able to adjust your style too. So, how do you figure out what type of judge you are debating in front of, and what to do? Well, that's where the paradigm comes in. So on Tabroom in public forum, when you get a pairing for a round, you'll see something like this. This is what it might look like after your seventh round. at a tournament. But after each round, there will be, say, near your judge, this button that says P, which means paradigm. And if you click this, then this will give you something like this that the judge has written themselves to describe how their judging is like. And sometimes you'll have very simple paradigms that are very easy to read. For example, this judge flat out tells you that they're a lay judge. Tells you that they're a lay judge, that they're going to look to substance and style and attach a lot of importance to kind of how well your arguments make sense and how you deliver them. That's pretty straightforward. So you know that in front of this judge, whom I assume is a parent, that you need to speak slow, you need to speak clear, you need to make simple arguments, and you need to make sure you're presenting yourself very, very professionally. On the opposite side of this, you might have someone like this, in which you'll see a much, much longer paradigm, and you'll see a lot of the things that I was talking about earlier in terms of what characterizes a quote unquote flow judge, right? They talk about tech being more important than truth, which is kind of what tabula rasa means. They'll talk about some of this jargon that only debaters would know about, and parents wouldn't: theory, plans, counterplans, disads, etc. So in front of someone like this, you know that this is a flow judge, and you can be faster, you can be more complicated, etc. Now, between these two, you have some potentially harder to read paradigms, right? For example, this person, because they talk about being a competitor. So you might be inclined to think that maybe they're a flow judge, right? They went to debate camp, they debated for 4 years, they coached as well. But I think there's some more subtler things to notice. For example, they competed in speech and not debate, which means that, as this part of their paradigm would suggest, that this is probably someone who is more along the lines of a lay judge. Even though they've done speech and debate, they might not know that much about debate, and because of their speech background, they probably care a lot about presentation. So you might want to debate more lay in front of someone like this. Alternatively, you might have someone like this who just like kind of talks about themselves in their paradigm, but again, they talk about, you know, where they went to college, their jobs, stuff like that. So this would lead you to believe that they're a parent judge. And they say things like clear arguments, examples, persuasive speech. These are all words that should lead you to believe that this is someone who's more lay oriented. But also, a great way to check to kind of confirm your suspicions, even if they claim that you know, perhaps they have a lot of experience. If you click the button next to paradigm up here, record, you can see what rounds they've judged. For example, this judge has only judged 3 rounds. You know that they're relatively inexperienced. Here's another one, right? Who says that they like quality and relevance of their arguments, well-researched, logically structured, credible sources. These are all things that would maybe lead you to believe that they're fans of lay debate or of slower debate. And you'll also have people who are kind of in between this spectrum, like I was talking about, and that's where you need to modify your style. For example, there's this person, right? They debated in high school for 5 years, right? Which is a lot of time, but they have some like certain considerations when for debate that might make you believe that they're in the middle of like kind of these poles that we're talking about. They don't like progressive debate, theory and K's and stuff. And if you don't know what that means, that's fine. But like that follows along the lines of like talking about jargon, right? They don't want to see certain things in debate. They're not a huge fan of speed. And you know, they talk about the vote off logic over unwarranted, probably not credible authors. These are all things that flow judges like, really flow judges like this person probably also believes, right? But I think this is a pretty hard paradigm to read, but just like based off of what they don't want to see, this is someone who might be in the middle of this spectrum, right? you don't want to be pedestrian with them. They've done debate. You don't want to make arguments that are like overly simple for what they can handle, but you also definitely don't want to be as fast and as complicated as you might be with someone like this. And if you don't know what that means or how to do that, that's okay, because learning how to adapt to all these types of judges is a very important process in debate. And you'll learn a lot more about that during your career, and there'll be a lot more resources from places like Outreach Debate and people like me to help you do that sort of thing. So, that's about it for today, and I hope this gave you a pretty decent overview of how to read some paradigms, what judge adaptation is like, and those sorts of things. But a few notes. Again, if you want to learn more, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Maybe sign up for our newsletter on our website to get a much deeper dive into a lot of these things. Because again, this is kind of an intro, but also and very importantly, this is just a short video resource that is based off of some of the much longer written resources that we have. So if you're interested in reading about something that's much more in depth than this, that talks about the same topics, make sure you go to our website and sign up for our resources letter. I think there's a Google Forms page on our website, which should be linked somewhere near where this video is released. And that should give you a much more comprehensive outlook on some of the issues that we talked about. But that's all for now. Thank you.